Spurs Kings TV. It's me, Marlon, with the match reaction against West Ham. It has finished West Ham 1, Spurs 1. Usually, I'd have some guests with me, but today they've all let me down. So you've got me, and I'm going to go through the match reaction with you guys tonight. But shout out to anybody out there watching. Big up, Eugene. Thank you for the chat. So let's start with the starting lineup first of all. So there were 3 changes, right? So obviously Van der Ven came in for Dragushin, which everyone was expecting. Kind of knew that was going to be the change, but he went with Brennan Johnson and Bentancur. So he took Sarr out and took Kulusevski out after Kulusevski's poor performance at the weekend, and put Brennan Johnson on the right, which was quite unexpected because Johnson's been an impact sub, but he went with that lineup. 2 minutes in, 5 minutes in, we score a goal. I saw the lineup and I thought, you know what? I can see what he's trying to go for, and it could be the downfall of West Ham. However, 5 minutes into the game, we get the first goal. Let's be honest, I'm not a Werner fan, but he makes a great run, right? He makes a great run on that left-hand side. And Johnson, pretty much most of our goals, what we've been doing this season, great start. But then comes the added question, and actually, Rashid, you bring it up in really nicely. Spurs are on top. It's probably everything's going in our favour a little bit. West Ham are struggling to get out of their half. Then Giovanni. The one thing that we've been questioning Ange recently is saying, why has he not got a set piece coach in? What happens? Set piece comes in, can't deal with it, and it's straight in the net. You know, what are you supposed to do? This is not the first. This is not the second. This has been happening all season, right? And if it's true that Yedniak and Ryan Mason are set piece coaches, I'm sorry, Ange, but they need sacking. It's not on now. It's happening time after time after time. To be honest, I think if we had Dragushin out there today, I don't think the corner goes in. I think he dealt with a lot in the air against Luton, but Romero and Van der Ven are not great in the air. We seem to be doing this zonal marking. Again, would like to get all your opinions on the zonal marking. Do you like it? Do you hate it? It's not doing Spurs any favours at the moment. But then, West Ham scored, and it was kind of even after that in that first half. I don't know what you guys thought, but I thought it was pretty even after that. And 1-1 at half time probably was probably a fair result. But when you think of the way the game was going, it was swinging end to end, and it was just probably falling in our favour. I thought we were the better team in that first half, personally, right? But then half time comes. What did Ange say to them at half time? Because again, they've come out and they can't get a foothold in this game. What is he saying? And I'm going to read out some chats in a minute. So if people want to leave some comments in chat, and we'll get answering some of these questions. But we come out in that second half, and West Ham are completely on top. It was getting to a point where you were like, we're going to concede a second here. Paqueta started to pull some strings. Bowen was trying to get, I think Bowen and Kudos came slightly more central, which then caused us a slight problem because they realised that we were getting a lot of joy from Udogie and Porro in that first half. But when they came central, they seemed to stop that supply as well. So where do Spurs go from here? Because the second half was a lot like how our first halves have been. Very, very, very like our first halves have been. So just read one in the chat. Scott M, I can see you there. I can see you. But no, it was a lot like the second half, like the first halves have been, and we just didn't get started. And then once West Ham, we started to make our subs. He brought off Bentancur first of all for Sarr, and then he brought Kulu on. And he took Maddison off. And I saw a lot of people crying out, why is he taking off Maddison? Why is he taking off Maddison? But Maddison seems to be nursing an injury. And again, I thought he had a quiet game. It wasn't his best. It was not his best game tonight. And I'd like to get you lot's thoughts on what's happened to Maddison since he's come back from injury. Does he look anywhere near himself? Because everyone's moaning about Bissouma, where he hasn't been, but and he had malaria. So what's going on with Maddison as well? He's not really been his best. But the front three for me was a problem. Johnson probably had his best game in the Spurs shirt tonight, which, again, a lot of us probably thought, over the last couple of weeks, Johnson was not been the best, but he's actually been in the last few games. He's come on, changed games, and you could tell his confidence. Like, because you saw when he did that back heel to, I think it was Kulu, with Poro, you can see that he's starting to get some confidence. But I wanted to just bring up Alfie Hall's comment here and said, Son should never have been striker today, in my opinion, against Zuma. And as for Pranas, he got bullied. Yeah, I think he wasn't helped out by Werner. If I'm being completely honest, I know people say I've got an agenda against Werner. I probably slightly do, but everyone will go, okay, he set up the goal today, but he doesn't carry that on. He doesn't carry that momentum on. So it then causes Son to have an issue. And I think once Werner wasn't playing well, I totally agree. I think Richarlison should have been brought on a lot earlier. Another comment here. I'd like to see Cooley play at the left wing. Yeah, I am in agreement with this. Let's see him on that left. It might be the reborn of Kulu, because actually, when you look at our system that we play, Ange wants you to get to the byline. How many times did Johnson get to that byline and Werner went at the back post? This is why Werner is a massive risk if you're going to buy him. Yeah, he might get the assist, but then for us to carry that momentum on, he's not there at the back post. I think it was 3 times that Johnson's got it in. That kills the game for us. West Ham don't get back into it. Scott M. It looks like you read the bedtime story in case someone woke at half time. Yeah, you're probably spot on there. It's like, what are Spurs doing? But you know what? Let's take some positives from this. Actually, when you look at the game as a whole, it wasn't as bad. Not many teams. I know we're going to all look at the Arsenal result at the West London Stadium and go, that's what Spurs should be doing. But actually, when you look at West Ham results at home, they've not been that bad. That was just an anomaly, that game, when you think about it. But today, yeah, Spurs need to, I think for us, I think everyone can see it, right? David Moyes has come out and afterwards and said, there's a certain way to play against Spurs. You play that way, you're going to get a result. And that's exactly what he done. He probably wasn't expecting the first 5 minutes because the way we've been in certain games, but you can blatantly see that, that there is a certain way you play against this Ange system. If you play it right, it will work. But yeah, I think the subs were probably a bit late because you could see again once we came out for that, like Scott M said there, he goes, it looked like they read a bedtime story and they just didn't come out on the 16th. He should have changed it a lot earlier. I was a bit surprised Bentancur came off. I thought he was probably the most creative out of him on the pitch today. But as Ben said, sack Ryan Mason. I think it's him and Yedniak, if I'm being fair. I think it's both of them. But to be honest, I don't blame them. I blame Ange for this one. This is where you have to look at Ange and go, you sacked the set-piece coach, and that's been our Achilles heel all season. What is up with our defenders? And you kind of get to a point as well, why can't they defend set pieces? It's becoming a problem throughout the team. But look, let's take the positives from this. We didn't lose, we didn't lose today. We've got a point. Brennan Johnson is coming on leaps and bounds. Let's be honest, there'd be a lot of you who are watching this who thought Brennan Johnson wasn't going to do anything this season. It was a waste of 45 million. Yes, he's not fulfilled it yet, but if he keeps going on this, in this direction, he is going to be a very good player for us. But the subs, yep. Well, let's get back to the subs. So Sarr came on. I thought with Sarr, he's kind of one of them. He doesn't impact the game, so it was kind of pointless. But it's, again, I know we think Gio's made a glass, but that game was probably calling out for a Gio. Someone just to get on the ball, dribble, and whatnot. But then we had a chance at the end. Udogie. Oh my God. How many of us had our head in our hands? If he puts any side of the keeper, he's got the whole goal to aim at. It's probably a goal. But let's be fair. West Ham are not a crap side. They played very well. If Antonio puts that 1-on-1, I don't know what happened to Van der Ven. He, done what we were all expecting. We saw Antonio running through. We saw Van der Ven. Half of us looked away from the TV and was like, yes, Van der Ven's got this. And he slips. But then, thank God Antonio is not a striker because, Vicario makes a wonderful save. He moves early. He makes his mind up. And Antonio, because he's not a natural striker, doesn't see that and just goes straight for the kick. But yeah, yes. Menkoff and Jedniak is an unknown quantum. Mason's been here for far too long. He's average in every position. Some time to let go. Ben, I couldn't look at the end of the day. Ange has obviously seen something. I think for me, where the coaching system, I remember Ange wanted the guy from Celtic to come with him. So I think Mason was just thrown in as part of the deal. But we can blatantly see that, yeah, maybe it's Mason we need to get rid of. Maybe that will stop. But yeah, we're still conceding crappy goals. And I think we've got to change that. We've got Forest at the weekend. And then after that, the run kicks in until we have to play the two bottom sides. But for me, right now, and for the whole Spurs community, I think fourth is looking... It's still looking positive. Why I say it's looking positive, because you have to look at Aston Villa's games coming up as well. It's pretty much the same, and they've got to play the same similar teams. They've got to play everyone in the top three, so do we. Whether it goes to fifth spot or not, I don't want to take that chance. But let's be honest about the performance today. Spurs were okay. It just needs to be a lot better in that final third. That front three, like as Alfie said earlier, Son, just, you could see it. I think a lot of us could see it. It just wasn't going to be a game for Son. I think we've had them games with Harry Kane when he's got two big strikers as well, defenders, and he just ain't in the game. And you just need someone to go up there and bully. And that's exactly what needed to happen today. Richarlison probably should have come on a little bit earlier, but again, we don't know if he's fully fit. And this is the biggest issue. But there is a lot of positives to take from this. I know everyone will see this as a poor result, but at the end of the day, we haven't even beat West Ham this season. David Moyes has put a plan out there for Ange. This is where sometimes Ange needs to adapt to the system and adapt to what other managers are doing. And this is probably the bit where we go, okay, Ange, look, he knew what he was going to do and he didn't change it. So you need to adapt your way. He tried to bring on Kulu in the middle. Has Kulu made a mistake to play in the middle? It's that chance at the end where he gets the ball on the left-hand side and he lays such an awful pass. Such an awful pass. It's so bad. Ben says Mason is a Levy plant. Rashid, yeah, we need a backup keeper, agreed, a striker, another creative mid, a right back, a left back, a lot of work to do in summer. The only position, I'm going to disagree with you on one position, I don't think the right back is ideal. Look, if we're looking at how much money we're going to spend, right back will be the last position I'd go for. I know a lot of people don't like Emerson, but I think there's more pressing issues that we need to go for, like the striker, like another creative mid. And like you said, I think we do need another left back, because when your doggy's not there, it all goes pear-shaped. But yeah, we've got a lot of work to do this summer. But the one thing I would agree with Ange on everything he does, even though I'm saying he needs to adapt, he's got to play this way. These players need to get it drummed into the system. We definitely need a DM. I think, Rashid, we need a DM. I think you can see that. Even though I think Basuma had a good game again, even though I got a lot of pelters for the weekend, he had a very, very good game. But yeah, I just think if we had a commanding six to protect that defence as well, someone to organise on corners. This is where I kind of go where Son is not the captain material, because I think Romero should be organising, Maddison should be organising, and the three of them, it's happening way too often. But yeah, if there's any, like Destiny, yeah, big up, bro. Same old Ange doesn't know how to make substitutes. But yeah, this has been a common problem, and this is not new. This is not a new issue with Ange. Ange has been like this even at Celtic, so it's not a case of knowing anything new. But maybe it's what he's got at his disposal. When he's agreeing to people like Werner to come in and they're having to play, you're not gonna have the subs, and you're not gonna. But for me, I think Richarlison part, and I think I agree with Rashid on this earlier. I think Richarlison was big key into why he didn't come on a lot earlier. Yeah, agree. Son is a fan, please, not captain led by example anymore. Yeah, no, Son, no, it's not just him. It's the whole team. Like what Ange has been saying is that he wants the team full of captains. But the problem is right now, could you imagine a proper captain organising that defence from corners? We know what's going to happen. We all knew what was going to happen. And yet none of them are taking responsibility. And that's the big thing right now. None of the players are taking responsibilities from corners. Right? Yeah, look at what Forest done to Fulham. Yeah, see, this is the problem now. You probably find that Nuno probably adapted tonight to Fulham and got the result. So I haven't seen the game yet, but obviously I'll catch up on that later. But yeah, it's the whole thing's interesting. For me though, for everybody else, are you disappointed with tonight's result? Or are you like me and seeing it's optimistic, you know, after the Fulham game, the way we went out in that, and some parts of today's game, I think 1-1 was probably a fair result. I don't think either team did enough to win it, but it's a case of, you know what, get on to the next one. We've got Forest Sunday. Let's try and get 3 points. But as a prediction for if I was going into that Forest game, we need to look, well, Werner will probably play on that left, but you can blatantly see we need a replacement. Or even what I would do, I'd play Son on the left, I'd put Richarlison up front and Brennan on the right, and I think that should be the team for Sunday. And obviously, I think Son and Johnson will get to the byline and do exactly what Andrew's been asking. I believe we did it against Newcastle. But yeah, that's where I'd go with on Sunday. Loved you. What does an average CM Mason know about set pieces? It shows no, and it does show. I think everyone can blatantly see that. I'm pretty sure now we've probably conceded one of the most set pieces in the league, and we'll be up there. But what worries me about this set pieces is North London derby, the team that has scored the most set pieces against probably one of the teams that are the weakest. And it's going to be, if we're going to win or lose that derby, it's going to be from corners. And that's the worrying thing. As 90 minutes, I think we can keep up with them, right? But defensively, they are sound. That's the one thing, they are sound defensively. But if they come with their set pieces in the North London derby, it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty with Declan Rice delivering them balls in. Gabriel's been on a lot this season. Saliba's been on a lot this season. And they've scored so many corners and we're conceding them. And this is the biggest worry. We have literally got 3 weeks to sort this out. Otherwise, I think a lot of us are going to be calling for heads, and which, you know, because it's the North London derby, we're going to be overreactionary, but we need to get this set pieces out. And finally, we can't keep blaming Vicario when there's 11 players there behind it. And I've said this for weeks. Vicario's weakest, if you knew in the summer, was from corners and set pieces and was crosses in the box. You know, it's hard, you know, when he's 27, and when I explained this before, he needs his defense to cover his weaknesses, and that's what Spurs are not doing. We're just exposing them, and that's really, really hard for a goalkeeper. But on to Sunday, I think personally, I think we'll beat Forest, and then it's time to see where we go from there. But as always, yeah, apologies, it's been a short one tonight. I usually have some guests with me, but obviously it's Tuesday night. A lot of people let me down tonight. But please make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you tune in for Ash's rival show tomorrow. That's going to be the same normal time. Tune in for that. Ash will be back with the team. But as always, in Andrew trust, and come on, you Spurs.